Welcome, folks. We're going to start with a quick look at the Lake Chatuge real estate market mid-year 2025, and then we're going to look at 12 mistakes to avoid when selling a home. First up, mid-year review of Lake Chatuge. A lot of activity on, well, strike that. Not a lot of activity on Lake Chatuge real estate sales, a lot of activity on Lake Chatuge with the TVA issue and the spill well this year. And I think the stats bear out that did affect us until at least the report came out of what's proposed currently. All right, we started the year with just 10 homes for sale on Lake Chatuge. That was some low inventory. Last year, 2024, we started the year with 21 homes for sale on Lake Chatuge. Through the mid-year point, this year we're at 38 homes. Last year we were only at 29 homes. So our inventory has increased, but that's because they haven't been selling at the mid-year point. At the mid-year point, there had been 6 homes sold thus far this year. Of course, we all know that the TVA spill well repair issue, you saw the signs everywhere, no Lake Chatuge for 8 years. Looks like that's been cured or hopefully addressed. They're going to lower the lake during the winter months for 2 seasons. Hopefully, when they get into the work, that remains true. We will see. But through the mid-year this year, there have been 6 sales. Last year, there were 12. So I definitely think we have seen some effect on lake sales this year because of the negative news that hopefully is positive now. I will tell you, though, I looked, there are currently 6 homes under contract on Lake Chatuge. 6. That's a lot to be pending, and it's probably pendings that have come out now that the TVA has announced what they were going to do. Point here, these sales are reported sales through the mid-year, through the end of June, through the local Board of Realtors. That's the Northeast Georgia Board of Realtors. I always like to point that out because one time I had a lakefront owner complain that I had not included their neighbor selling their home to like a family member or something. Yeah, I'm not going to have that. These are real estate sales, which are by far the lion's share of the market on the lake. So we've had 6 sales thus far. We have 6 pending, and when I say thus far, through the mid-year point, through the end of June, we have 6 pending right now. That's very, very strong, and I think that's a reaction to the positive TVA news. Of the 6 pending, 4 of the solds were on the Georgia side of the lake. The average days on market for those 4 that sold is 136 days. The average list price was a little under $856,000, $856,000. The average sold price was a little under $810,000. The lowest sale on Lake Chatuge was $500,000. The highest price was $1,350,000 thus far this year on the Georgia side of the lake. Now looking at the North Carolina side of the lake, there have been 2 sales on the North Carolina side. The average days on market was 19 days. The average list price was $1.2 million. The average sold price was $1,099,295. The lowest price sale on Lake Chatuge on the North Carolina side was $1,078,589. Lakefront lots. There has been 1 lakefront lot to sell through the end of June, and that was also true last year. Last year there had been 1 lakefront lot sold through the end of June, and these again are reported sales to our local Board of Realtors. That 1 sale, that 1 lakefront sale, was on the Georgia side of the lake. The average days for that one was 26 days. The list price was $249,000. That's very low. for a lakefront lot. Last year, at the end of the year, the average list price for a lakefront lot on the Georgia side of the lake was 708,000. Thus, the one sale sold for 200,000. So, of course, our average sold price thus far this year on that one is 200,000. Last year on Lake Chatuge on the Georgia side, the average lakefront lot sold price was $665,000. Best guess is this lot was either teeny or in a cove. I didn't have time to look up the specific lot, but I am guessing it was in a cove. Very shallow water would be my best guess. And there have been no sales through mid-year on the North Carolina side of Lake Chatuge as far as vacant lots are concerned. Last year we had 3 vacant lots on the North Carolina side of the lake selling the entire year. A big difference in price, and it could be coincidental as far as the quality of the lots that came for sale. Last year, the average sold price on the North Carolina side was a little over 373,000. A little over 373,000 was the average sold price of a lakefront lot on Lake Chatuge. And again, on the Georgia side, the average was 665,000. That is a big difference. That is a little extended look at Lake Chatuge real estate mid-year review. Now, our main topic today is the 12 mistakes to avoid when selling your home. It's a report I came across. I was just some of it's apropos for our market, and that being a second home market principally. Let's see. Let's start with 4 don'ts. Here are 4 things not to do when you put your home up for sale. 1, don't get emotional. It does amaze me how emotional home selling is. It's a lot easier when there's a detached value there, and I really think that's why hiring an agent pays off when selling, because an agent can be very detached. It's not their home. There's no sentimental value to it, no fond memories made on the mountain or on the lake. It's just a sale. So don't get emotional. Maybe you've lived in your home for 25 years and raised your kids there. Maybe you're moving for a reason that's inherently emotional or difficult. Maybe you just feel the heightened stress of selling a home and let your emotions into the mix. Do your best to put your emotions on the shelf and be as pragmatic as possible about selling your home. I can tell you, in the 20 years that I've been selling homes, I could probably count on one hand the sellers that were very detached and I thought were highly realistic in selling their home. Folks, today we're doing a quick review of the 12 mistakes to avoid when selling your home here in the beautiful Blue Ridge Mountains of northeast Georgia and western North Carolina. We'll be right back after these commercial messages. As always, I really appreciate you tuning in each week, and if you're considering buying or selling here in the Blue Ridge Mountains, I hope you'll give me a call. I principally help folks selling in the Union County market, that's Blairsville, the Towns County market, that's Young Harris and Hiawassee, and the Hayesville market, Brasstown, Warren, and Hayesville. Those are the markets that I belong to, the different MLSs that serve those markets, and that's the Georgia MLS. It's out of the Atlanta area. It's a statewide MLS, so my clients get exposure statewide through the Georgia MLS. Belong to the local MLS. That's the Northeast Georgia Board of Realtors. It's based up here, and it's the primary MLS. If you hire an agent, you want to make sure they have your listing on the Northeast Georgia Board of Realtors, because that's the primary one that most agents look to when searching. And then finally, I joined the MLS over in Murphy. That's the Mountain and Lakes MLS. Agents are the number 2 source that buyers use, so you want to make sure you hire an agent that is aggressive in promoting your property to their fellow agents by joining all the boards that cover your area. We'll be right back after these commercial messages. And as always, I really do appreciate you tuning in each week. Thank you so much. Welcome back, folks. Today we're looking at the 12 mistakes to avoid when selling your home. It was actually a article I came across, and I thought, well, I wonder how it compares to how we sell here in the mountains. I thought the first point was pretty good. Don't get emotional. Number 2 is don't set an unrealistic price. Pricing your home is one of the first and most important decisions you'll make when listing your home for sale. If you get too caught up in the what ifs, you may set your sights too high and set an unrealistic price. This will mean your home sits on the market longer and can cost more money in the long run. Our market's very unique. It is a second home market. Most of our buyers that move to the mountains, they're in the second half of life, most of them. And the first half of life, I always like to say, when you go to a restaurant, you open up the menu, you look for the chicken item, something that's maybe a little less more costly, maybe something that you can afford. You're probably raising a family, and money's tight. You have multiple mouths to feed, multiple folks to clothe, and money's tight. So when you open that menu in the first half of life, you look for that chicken menu or that chicken item. The second half of life, the kids are hopefully on their way. If they're not, you need to kick them out. Personal opinion there. Raise them right, raise them to be trailblazers, to be independent in and of themselves. But second half of life, when you go to the restaurant, you open that menu, you want the filet or you want the lobster. You want what you want, and you're willing to pay for it at that point. And that's how a lot of our shoppers are here in the mountains. They're in the second half of life. They have sacrificed, they've worked hard, and now they're wanting what they want. So I will admit, occasionally up here we do see sales where I scratch my head and go, well, that's above where I think the comps support. But that's the part of the uniqueness of our market. But overall, that's a good point. You don't want to set an unrealistic price. Number 3, don't hide major problems. A good home inspector will find out all the issues with your home anyway. Not being forthcoming about known issues will slow the whole process down. You don't want to have an offer on the table that doesn't work out because you failed to disclose something or because the inspection uncovered something huge. Important point here, always tell the truth. Let your yes be yes, let your no be no. In both Georgia and North Carolina, you will have to complete a residential property disclosure where it asks you various questions. If you know the truth is yes, you check yes. If you know the truth is no, you check no. If you don't know, you make it clear you don't know. But it's not a time to hide stuff. That's when lawyers get involved, and everyone loses when lawyers get involved. So always tell the truth on the property disclosure. If you've had an issue, disclose it and disclose how you have remedied or the solution to the issue. But please always tell the truth on those disclosures. There's nothing worse than lying, period. Makes the Lord stopped in. Number 4, don't wait until the last minute. There are numerous documents you'll need to have in hand before you list and sell your home. Don't wait until the last minute to get your ducks in a row. Everything will go faster and smoother if you have everything you need. Well, truthfully, the closing lawyer normally puts most things together, or your agent can go online. Thankfully now, most residential documents, deeds, plats, are online. When I first moved here, they weren't, and I felt like I was still living in a courthouse, going to the courthouse pulling documents. Fortunately, now your agent should be able to go online and pull your deed, pull your plat, if you don't have either of them in hand. So maybe a valid point, but not an overly important point. Now, 12 mistakes to avoid when selling your home. Here are some do's. Not doing these are huge mistakes that home sellers make all the time. Number 5, do film video walkthroughs. Especially as virtual home buying becomes increasingly popular, your home will get more views and interaction if you have a video walkthrough. Video tours can usually be filmed by someone who works with your real estate agent. These are compelling and add value to your listing. Absolutely agree. Oftentimes, I will have buyers call and say, would it be okay if I go over and live stream, do a live video with their client? And they go over to the home and they walk through the home with their video on and they talk to their clients. Not unusual. When I list a home, I always have a professional photographer not only take photos but do a drone video showing where the home's located, what's in its proximity, because that's important, and also a video walkthrough of the home. Not only do I do the video walkthrough so you can get an idea, but my favorite tool to use is a Matterport 3D virtual tour. That's a video where when you come to the listing, you can click, and all of a sudden, it's like you're standing in a room, normally the great room, and you can take your mouse and you can look up, you can look down, you can look left, you can look right, and you can literally take your mouse and virtually walk through the home. There is no better way in my mind to get a true understanding of a home's outline, to understand, okay, yeah, that room connects to this room, because you walk from that room to this room virtually. It's the best way. A lot of sellers don't like looky-loos going through their home, so this enables folks down in Florida, Texas, Atlanta, or big feeder markets that are looking to buy up here. It allows them to walk through the home and know, no, I don't want that home, there are too many stairs, or this, that, or the other. Whereas if I just put pictures out there and I didn't include all the stairs pictures, you might waste everyone's time going to the home. So you definitely want to do a video walkthrough, and I would strongly recommend hiring an agent that does a Matterport virtual tour. Saves you time. Number 6, do make minor repairs. If you've lived in your home a long time, or even if you haven't, you may have learned to live with squeaky hinges or broken railing. Home buyers will be turned off by these things, and it's a lot cheaper to fix them yourself than have negotiations about the deal. Yes and no. It just depends on time versus money. The repairs I'm concerned with when selling a home are if there's any type of water leak, any type of water issue, you got to address it. That water scares people to death, and I don't blame them. So if you have any roof issues, address it, get it fixed, get it repaired. Second one that I always recommend, and this is a major one, is foundation. Foundations scare buyers to death. They normally run. If you see any type of foundational issue, get it checked out, get it fixed. Those are the two biggies. This was do make minor repairs. You know, I don't know how wise that is. If you paint it, they may just paint over it. Your taste may not be their taste. I actually had a client one time say, I know that granite's popular now. I'm going to rip out my Formica and put in granite. Well, my question to them was, well, does your buyer want the dark granite here or the light granite? And they just looked at me, and I think they got the point. You can negotiate out a lot of repairs, and that way the buyer can get exactly what they want rather than you guessing what they want. Number 8, do stage your home. Now that many buyers are checking you out virtually, you want to have your home staged. And when I say staged, I mainly mean think model home. You want it depersonalized. If you have a lot of family photos, take some of them down. Having a few family photos is normal, but having walls and walls and walls of family photos is overwhelming. You want them to be able to envision their family there. If you have a lot of knickknacks, tchotchkes, get them down, get them down. So my staging is very basic. Just try and think model home and simplify the home to where they can envision themselves. Okay, I've got 1 minute, real quick. Number 9, be careful about negotiations. There are great things and ways to negotiate and poor ones. So be careful in your home negotiations. Always be honest. Number 10, be careful about when you sell. Yes, selling up here is seasonally based. We are in our busy season right now. And number 11, be careful about buyer qualifications. A huge waste of time that home sellers sometimes experience is trying to work with unqualified buyers. When they make an offer, ask for them to be pre-approved. Now, pre-approvals are not guarantees, but it's at least a step in the right direction. If the buyer has told their lender the truth, it should all go well. Number 12, be careful about delays. Any number of things can derail your home sale. It's super important that you don't make impulsive decisions that could set you back several weeks. Folks, I hope you've enjoyed today's show. As always, if you're looking to buy or sell, I hope you'll give me a call. Thanks for listening.